Okay, we'll call this hearing to order.
Us, good to go?
And Councillor Thompson, could you do the honors as usual in terms of reading the script? You have that?
Yes, I will. The purpose of this session is to consider applications made to City Council and to hear public feedback with regard to those applications. All persons who believe that their interest in property within the boundaries of the city is affected by the applications shall be afforded a reasonable opportunity to be heard or to present written submissions respecting matters contained in the applications that are subject of this session. No one will be or should feel discouraged or prevented from making their views known. This session is open to the public, and all representations to council form part of the public record. A live video and audio feed may be broadcast and recorded by GFTV. All information, correspondence, petitions, and reports that have been received concerning the applications have been made available to the public. The correspondence and petitions received after June 10th, 2020, date of notification, are available for inspection during the course of this session and are located on the information table in the foyer of the council chamber. Members of council may ask questions if they so wish. However, the main function of council members is to listen to the views of the public. It is not the function of council to debate the merits of the proposed application with the individual citizens or with each other at this session. Council debate on the proposed application is scheduled to take place during the next regular council meeting after the conclusion of this session. It should be noted, however, that some items a final decision may not be reached at that meeting. It must be emphasized that council will not receive any representation from the applicant or members of the public at the conclusion of this session. During the public feedback session, people sometimes become enthusiastic or emotional. Regardless of whether you favor or oppose any application or argument, please refrain from applause or other expressions of emotion. Restraint enables others whose view may or may not coincide with your own to exercise their right to express their views and have them heard in as impartial a forum as possible.
Thank you. And that the notifications were done of the meeting?
Mayor, we can confirm that the meeting was, this meeting was advertised in last week's June 10th edition of the Grand Forks Gazette, and also sent by mail out to properties within 30 meters.
Thank you. And the council did direct staff to proceed with this process, and could I ask for a description from the proponent here? So Mr. Verabioff, do you want to make your submission?
Do you need another presentation?
Not really, kind of a summary,
What was that? Go ahead.
kind of a summary of it, basically.
Yeah, summary is I want to use my one property on 68th Ave, the fenced one that's all grass. I want to use that for a drive-in theater, and it'll be run 3 nights a week, and we're also going to the odd time lease that property out to other special events, grad or weddings, funerals, different community events. I might approach the farmers market and just other different organizations if they need a property that's fenced and safe and secure to hold events like that, because I know the park downtown's getting quite small for different things. And so anyways, our property's set up and ready to go. I do have, as of this morning, from Consumer Protection Branch in BC, they approved my license for a drive-in theater. So now I'm just waiting for the city to approve our temporary use permit. And then our equipment will be in 2.5 weeks, and we'll be set up and ready to go.
All right, and we've all had a chance to review some material, and I would ask that we have any submissions at this point that come in on this matter.
Everything's being submitted through corporate.
So, I'm sorry, through Kevin?
Yeah, through corporate services.
Through corporate. So these are submissions at this point. Are we planning to read them or just to present them?
Well, we can quickly talk about the summary, Mr. Mayor. So in the summary, the first page there, Kevin, if you can scroll back up, right there.
Right there.
So that really highlights the responses that were received by the manager regarding this property and the temporary use permit. So for approval, responses from others throughout the area, they were all 25 were in favor, and 7 parties disapproved. And from adjacent property owners within the 30 meters, there was 2 that disapproved and 0 approvals.
Okay, thank you. Responding to that from the applicant, you, Mr. Verabioff?
I'm kind of speechless. I don't know, I can't understand why somebody would disapprove it. And number one, I don't know what their reasoning is, because I haven't seen any of the letters stating what their grounds for not approving it would be. And I would like to remind the neighbors and everybody who's disapproved it of what that property looked like 2 years ago. It was 1 lightning bolt or 1 spark or 1 cigarette away from leveling their entire subdivision. So I just can't understand why or what in our presentation they take offense to.
Okay, and I'm kind of stuck here. I'm wondering how he can respond to some of the concerns that have been expressed if he hasn't seen them.
They're in the agenda package.
They're in the agenda package, but,
No, we only emailed it out to council.
right, so only council has seen
Oh,
them.
sorry, lost the public feedback. We can respond, sorry,
You
sorry,
want-
we can.
Please help me here.
Yeah, Doris, why don't you come on? Yeah.
Patsy?
Yeah, you bet.
Yeah, and if you wanna right now tell me what the I can quickly answer on the fly and respond on the fly if you wanna tell me what the objections are.
Put those
They're-
up on the screen, or we don't need to?
Sorry?
Oh, sure, where am I?
Well, it's too many.
Memorize them.
It's too many to read. I mean, they've been submitted to council. Some of them are related to concerns about traffic, more noise, just being generally busier in the area. And I only had 1 request for clarification from any of the respondents, so none of the respondents actually asked or requested the full package to read the report. And so, some folks did bring up some issues that we did deal with in the report. So it would be, I think we could safely deal with some of those issues, and we were already planning on dealing with some of those issues in the report. So I think most of the concerns have been dealt with, but the general consensus was folks that were from the neighborhood concerned about the extra traffic and the extra busyness of the area.
Okay, the extra traffic, I've already addressed that, and I put out on Facebook, that's where I do everything, absolutely everything, and I know a bunch of you, if not all of you, follow me on Facebook to see what I'm doing. And so there was a map stating the entrances and exits to that property. Now, the main entrance will be right where the pump house is on 68th Ave, and that's probably more than half a kilometer, if not closer to a kilometer away from, I'm assuming Bryson Place and Selkirk, I think Selkirk something across the road. It's quite a distance, so people are instructed to come down past Extra Foods into our entrance there. And then when they leave, they'll also be exiting that way. So there will be hopefully no extra traffic coming past the residential area there, past the old, I'd still call it Black Knight. I don't know what that store is there, but down 68th Ave. So I can't see traffic being a problem because we're only allowed 50 cars right now. Once we are allowed more than that, same thing. We're going to instruct people to use the Central Ave and down past Extra Foods to come in and to leave when they leave. And then if they need to line up, which I don't think there'll ever be a lineup, but if they do, they'll pull into our property and they'll queue there 2 or 3 wide until the parking attendants get to them. And then they'll park them, and we're also, you have to remember, from the end of our fenced property to the fence at Bryson Place, it is, I think there's 7 acres in there. And again, that went from a tinderbox to a green grass field that it is today. So anyways, that's,
Okay,
I can't see noise or traffic being a problem. There'll be 0 extra noise because the sound for the drive-in, or whether it's a special event or whatever, will be kept within the noise bylaws, and that'll be part of the conditions of anybody leasing the property. And it's not like we're gonna have a big major festival there where we have 50,000 watts of sound. It's all done through a person's FM radio in their vehicle.
we have a question for clarification from Councillor Studley.
Yeah, I guess this would be more for staff. On the report, it said two responses from adjacent properties. Was there only 2 adjacent properties, or is that only 2 that responded?
Yeah, there were 7 properties within the 30-meter boundary, or the buffer zone, and that was 2 of the 7 responded.
So if it's 30 meters, then Bryson Place, you could completely toss them out because they're more than 30 meters. So then it would be the area across the road, across 68. And also, I think you could toss out Silver Kettle because they have already asked me if there's any way that the people in there, that the residents there are able to, from their balconies, watch the movies. So I can't see them opposing. Bryson Place is more than 30 meters, so any complaints from them we should toss right out. And so it's Selkirk, and I know a bunch of the people who live in there, and they're all supportive. So I like to say it's 2 complainants, there are 2 people complaining about the noise, from what I understand, and there won't be any noise that's going to disrupt them. No more noise than when Angus McDonald has a ball tournament and people are going back and forth all day long, and that's all day long from 10 or 11 in the morning till dark. So we'll have less traffic than those tournaments have.
I'd just like to comment, there was a citizen was concerned about whether or not Silver Kettle had been consulted, so we confirmed that that's the case.
One concern was the fact that it doesn't get dark now until 9 o'clock. Hours of operation here in terms of the movie?
The movie, when the sun goes behind the mountain, and that is normally about 7:30, and I know that from previous CannaFest years. And during CannaFest is when the sun's the highest in the sky. So right now the sun will probably go behind, Hardy Mountain or whatever, the observation right there, whatever it is. The sun goes behind the mountain 7:30. So we're hoping to have the movie on at 7:30 and then another one on at 9. be done by 10:30 and everyone over there 10 minutes later. And the movie the light from the movie is, it's not lights like over at Donaldson Park. It's a projector that's projected onto the screen. Other than that, the place is completely dark, so there'll be zero lights on bothering any of the neighbors. And then at the end of the night, any lights that are on will be shining from the top of our projector down onto the field to illuminate the pathway out of there.
Further, Flores?
Sorry?
Did you have other things?
No.
No.
Okay, so Councillor Moslin, and then we have 2 people in the waiting room.
Okay, Councillor Moslin?
Yes, thanks, Mayor. Just a point of information. Which way, Mr. Mayor, which way is the screen orientated? Is the picture being filmed towards the west, towards the setting sun, or is the screen displayed towards the other end? So
The screen will be dead center of our field, and if you drive in from the pump house and you drive straight in and park, you'll be looking directly at our screen. So basically would be, you know where the white fence is at Bryson Place? If you drive in straight from the pump house, the screen will be directly in front of you.
Okay, and are we ready for a waiting room person?
We can bring somebody in.
Do we know who that is?
Gary and Barb Peters.
Gary and Barb?
And I think we're just waiting for possibly clicking connect using computer audio.
There we go.
Welcome, Gary and Barb.
Hi.
Okay, and this is a public hearing, so your comments on the movie plan. Are you muted?
I don't believe so.
No, I think, can you hear us?
And now we can.
Yeah, okay. We submitted something yesterday in writing. I'm not sure if others of our cul-de-sac also submitted, the concerns. And so did you guys just start this discussion, or are we sort of, because we've been trying to get in basically since 2 o'clock.
I'm sorry, I didn't hear that. Or-
Sorry, we're wondering, are we joining this discussion halfway through the discussion? Sorry for being kind of like, seeming like, because we tried to get in at 2 o'clock, so, has the discussion already taken place?
No, you're at an appropriate time here. Mr. Verabioff has explained what he's planning, and there's been some clarifications by council, but no, this is a public hearing, so it's not a debate, but we're interested in your position and your ideas on this.
Yeah, so we submitted something yesterday in writing, I believe, and I'm not sure if council has that. We apologize that it was, we were late in getting it off. I'm not sure if others in our cul-de-sac have submitted anything either, but that's neither here nor there. One of our we have basically 3 concerns. One is access to the southeast gate, which basically comes up to Mountain Place. So we're concerned about possibly if that is considered as an access point for the drive-in theater. And perhaps you could clarify whether that gate is going to be planned to use as an access point.
Okay, could we stop the question and ask for Mr. Verabioff to respond to them one at a time?
And again, all of this is laid out in my original presentation and letter that went out last week, but the southeast gate is absolutely closed. It is for personal and emergency use only. And the main entrance will be down, further down the west, right by the pump house where we, that's the entrance and the exit. The only way any of the other gates will be open is if we need emergency vehicles in there. But even if we do need emergency vehicles, they're able to enter through the main gate. So just for fire and emergency purposes, those gates are there, but they will be locked at all times during any production or any movie at all.
Thank you very much, and Mr. Peters? Back to you.
Okay, thank you. We've noticed that there's been an accumulation of buildings on the site, buildings or, how would you describe them?
Well, in the email, I said that there are, 2 C-cans, is it 4 portables, 2 fifth wheels, piles of traffic stuff and posts, and what else? Bunches of stuff covered up by various parks, and the demolition cart. And so we're basically just kind of going, we've watched in the short time that it has been open, that place has been fenced, the grass has been cut, but there seems to be a collection of stuff, and who knows when it's gonna end. And we would really like that cleaned up. We don't think it looks good there.
And we would like the property for something that Grand Forks can be proud of. So that's our concern. If it continues to be an accumulation of stuff, then the value of the property is going to go down, and it's not going to be as pretty or as aesthetically pleasing as it possibly could be. So.
And not just if it continues. We really would like to see that cleaned up because it has just collected in a very short time, and it doesn't look great.
So that would be our question number 2.
Okay, so
Okay. Answer this. Do you prefer it to be the way it was 2 years ago or now? I am 100% proud of what it is there, and 99% of the city is proud of what we have done there. We fenced it, we've irrigated, we've turned it into a park. Yes, there is a building there, there's also C-cans there. They are there, you have to remember, it's an 9 acre property, so the stuff, as you call it, stuff, is maybe 1% of the entire footprint.
Yeah.
It's not, hang on, don't interrupt me, give me my time to speak, please. It doesn't look like it does up at Motocross or up at the dumper or some places in South Ruckel. It's clean, it's organized, it's nice, it's neat, it's mowed, and you're talking about property value. Ever since that property has been developed, my assessment went up $100,000 last year, so I'm pretty sure that your assessment has also went up instead of down because of what we have done on that property.
Mr. Verabioff, can I halt this at this point and clarify the fact that the feedback is towards your temporary use permit, and so we're wandering off into this basically criticism of how you're looking after your property there. So, Mr. Peters, I think we need to stick to the temporary use permit issues here. So you've kind of wandered off on that one.
Well, can I just speak, because the temporary use permit, we're not saying, I feel like Mr. Verabioff was a little bit defensive there. It doesn't look great right now. We have liked it. It was great in the first year, but all of a sudden in the second year, all this stuff is up against the fence and all over there, and I think you can do better. We like what's happening there, but that was only a 1 year collection basically, and so what's gonna happen in the future? And something better can be done with that stuff. Something better can be done with it. There's no two ways about it.
All right, and can I ask you if you've got other concerns that we move on with concern number 3, Mr. Peters?
So the concern about is in regards to the temporary use permit, which requires that buildings be temporary in nature and not permanent. And we're wondering about the green shed, which is on a concrete foundation. So is that temporary or is that permanent?
I think there again, you're questioning something that's not really directly related to the current temporary use permit.
I believe it is because if you read our email, the last paragraph said, so we're talking about a variety of things. So it has everything to do with what we're talking about now because you give temporary use again, which we're not against it, but what else is going to happen in there?
Okay, and can I ask Mr. Redfern if he would help me out here in this?
Yeah, sure, we're talking, it sounds like, and again, I'd have to familiarize myself with the property, but a pre-existing building that is pre-existing under previous zoning. We're talking about a temporary use permit right now that has to do with the drive-in movie theater and any activities on the property that have to do with the drive-in movie theater and any buildings would have to be temporary in nature moving forward. Now, correct me on the green building.
The green building is temporary, it's removable as well.
It's removable as well, sorry.
Yes.
Okay, so that is the planning department's position on that green building, that is in confirmation with that temporary building.
And so I'll just confirm if the concern is that permanent buildings will be constructed as a result of this use, the temporary use permit does not allow that.
Okay.
Well, that is a large cement slab. Is that easily removable? I don't think so.
Well, I think so. And,
Really?
and the answer to your question is yes. It's temporary use. And if you wanna start debating what's temporary and what's not, that's another conversation. We're not talking about what's there. The fence isn't temporary, is it? The irrigation isn't temporary and the electrical isn't temporary. So where are we gonna draw the line on this? I could put it back and have it grow over with weeds again if that's what makes you
Okay,
happy.
Mr. Vorobiev, moving on with basically concerns here. We have 2 guests there. Councillor Thompson, can you help us with clarifications here? Because I'd like to focus on Gary and Barb here's participation.
I would just like to comment that, yes, Barb and Gary did send an email to all of council. It was done late last night and is not something that council can really consider, thus they're having their presentation. So, you know, we've heard their concerns. I believe the applicant has adequately responded, at least to me, addressing their concerns, and perhaps not to the Peters, but, unfortunately, I didn't read the email.
And we apologize that we were late off the bat for that.
Okay, and so getting back to Barb and Gary's concerns, I'm prepared to move on to other people who are waiting in the waiting room, but if you have a specific thing about the temporary use permit that I'm missing here, go ahead.
No, those were our 3 points, and thank you very much for the opportunity to speak.
And can I just say one more thing that I do know, and I know that the demolition derby car was put there last year, and there are some wood and things along the fence. That we will, when I get to Grand Forks this week, I'm coming in on Sunday, I will be cleaning a lot of that up. And you'll notice this week, now that the rain stopped, we are gonna cut and weed whack the whole place because with the weather the way it's been, we have been unable to do that. But yes, we will clean up what can be cleaned up and moved off of that property. So I don't want any of the neighbors to be angry at us because we have something there. So if we need to move something around to keep everybody happy, we're willing to do it.
Thank you.
Chuck and I appreciate that gesture, and I look forward to meeting you, when you're here next week.
And we
See you at
have,
the movies.
All right, thank you very much, Gary and Barb. And we'll move on to someone else, if there anyone else in the waiting room.
Yes, there was.
Yeah, I can speak, but the other lady that was in the waiting room just wanted to watch it, so, she asked me where she could find the stream, and I referred her on to the soapbox.
Okay.
Oh, okay,
Where
so-
Les is sharing the stream.
So it wasn't to make a presentation?
No, she said she simply wanted to be watching.
Okay, have we covered the public input at this point into this hearing? Is there anything we're missing?
There is no one left in the waiting room.
Can I ask you a question? Did we get work from our email campaign on Facebook, on Friday?
Yeah, let me just,
And I know we have about 500 to 600 comments on our Facebook page supporting the event. Oh, okay, there we go. Yeah, that's my Facebook. That's my Facebook with a ton of comments and 200 shares almost. But actual email coming in, was there, did you guys receive any email coming in on Friday?
And Dolores?
Yeah, so we established a contact or an email address. Did we receive it
Yep, that was the 25.
at the beginning? So that's what was summarized at the very beginning, Chuck.
Oh, okay, no, that's good, thanks.
Yeah, it's all right, Chuck, we have some technical difficulties with this one, getting it to Kevin got it going here, so we're glad for council to see.
Okay, if we've satisfied the time requirements and we've heard the concerns, I think we've probably accomplished this public hearing.
Okay.
Mr. Verabioff, thank you very much, and the decision will be coming forward to council.
Now, will that be coming today or,
This will be coming this afternoon.
okay, and then that'll be, I'm assuming I'll be notified hopefully?
Yes.
Okay, awesome, have a good day, stay safe, and we'll see you next week.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, bye.